The business of the NBA is not new to me. I've been in trade rumors since I've been in the NBA.
With the NBA playoffs entering the back half of their time, more or less, as the conference finals get filled out, a lot of teams are now left wondering, what's next for us? Because for a vast majority of the NBA, their season is done, and it's up to the front office to go and decide who to keep, who to change, how to handle the upcoming NBA draft, and so on. And while you might be only focusing on the top teams to go and make big trades, you don't want to discount some of the lower tier ones. Allow us to show you how this Pistons Raptors trade lands Fred VanVleet in Detroit. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 6. Detroit looking at Fred VanVleet. The Detroit Pistons were aggressive in NBA free agency last offseason. We could see them be aggressive once again this time around, but in the trade market. With the year that Jeremy Grant had, the Pistons could be looking for a point guard to go with him. A surprise name that could surface on the trading block could be Fred VanVleet. The Toronto Raptors made VanVleet a priority in NBA free agency last year and agreed to a 4-year contract. The Raptors did not compete for a postseason spot like they have in the past, much to the surprise of many, given how dominant they had been in past years in regards to at least reaching the postseason. They went from being one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference to a bottom feeder. This means they will have to make some moves in the offseason to get back to where they want to be. It would be surprising to see Toronto's trade VanVleet shortly after signing him, but it would certainly shake things up. The Pistons are a team that is far away from competing, but making a blockbuster deal such as this one could speed things up. Or at the very least, give the team a shot in the arm that could get the fan base excited. Jeremy Grant had a strong year in his first with the Pistons, which caused him to be thrown into some NBA trade rumors. If they decide to keep Grant and have another player, it could help them win a few more games next season. When looking at the players available, it might benefit Detroit to go on the trading block instead. Let's take a look and see what the deal between these two sides might look like. Because when it comes to sports, like the NBA, it really is all about the art of the deal. 5. The deal. Fred VanVleet would be the biggest name switching sides on this deal. He has proven to be one of the main scoring options on a team and could bring that to the Pistons. He would be reuniting with his former head coach, Dwane Casey, too. Killian Hayes was a first-round pick of Detroit last year, but this time with an injury. He could headline the return to Toronto along with Mason Plumlee. Both players would fill important roles for the Raptors immediately. Hayes would slot in where Kyle Lowry has for many years, while Plumlee would provide depth at the center spot. The net result of this trade would be an increase of $5.9 million in salary cap spending for the Pistons by taking on Fred VanVleet's salary, who is set to earn $19.6 million in 2021-2022. Detroit would be sending out a combined $13.7 million in a salary between Mason Plumlee, $8.1 million, and Killian Hayes, $5.5 million. So, on the surface, this deal could make sense, both in terms of player swaps and with the finances, but the other half of the trade is whether the teams will benefit from it. 4. Does this help Detroit? The Detroit Pistons have made the postseason just twice over the last 12 years. This is not acceptable for a team with a rich history of success, not the least of which is their last NBA title season, which is slowly drawing towards the 20th anniversary mark. To get back to contending in the postseason, they will have to rebuild their roster up to par. That can be done in a trade such as this one. The Pistons clearly went in a different direction this season. They traded Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks and agreed to a buyout with Blake Griffin, which ironically worked out great for the teams the two went to, as Rose helped the Knicks get to the number 5 seed, and the Nets picked up Griffin to bolster their roster. But in regards to the Pistons, this showed that the front office wanted to get younger. They added Killian Hayes in hopes that he would be the point guard of the future, but was limited this season. Saddiq Bey emerged as a promising player and could be part of the future. Fred VanVleet would take over as the main option within the offense, along with Jeremy Grant. This would bring great balance to the rotation because of the way the lineup would be put together. Dwane Casey is an elite head coach, but he does not have much to work with. The front office has to give him some players so he could turn the team into a winner, and soon. And VanVleet might just be able to help point them on the right path. 3. How would this help Toronto? Masai Ujiri has made it clear that he is going to stay in Toronto. He's one of the best front office minds in the league and knows how to rebuild a roster when needed. This is what he could be looking to do with the current Raptors roster. This would be a move to show that Toronto is going in a different direction than where they currently are, which might honestly be what they need because after losing Kawhi Leonard, who did the ultimate one and done with them by helping them win the NBA title in that 1 year, they haven't been the same and have been on a downward trajectory. Fred VanVleet was the main priority for the Raptors last offseason, and this caused them to lose some key pieces in the front court. Toronto has been one of the top teams in the league over the last few years, but that did not continue this season. Toronto has plenty of options this offseason, and it would be a bit of a surprise to see VanVleet get traded. In return, Pascal Siakam would get another point guard to work with. Killian Hayes was taken with a 7th overall pick last season and still has a high ceiling moving forward. He would be able to develop in Toronto with a team that is looking to compete in the postseason. It was a disappointing year for the Raptors, and that could lead to some big moves. It'll be interesting to see what Ujiri does when the time comes. Moving on from a big contract or two would do Toronto some good, and Fred VanVleet is certainly on top of that list. But, as in all things, we'll have to wait and see how it all goes. 2. Stacking up. Here's the thing, the landscape in the NBA has been changing drastically ever since the decision. You know, that decision? The one by LeBron James to take his talents to South Beach? Granted, there had been super teams in the past, but this time it was different. It was 3 all-stars in their primes, still with a good coach and exec to make it all work. And it did. 4 NBA Finals appearances and 2 titles. Since then, everyone has been trying in one form or another to go and make that kind of super team. The Golden State Warriors did it when they brought in Kevin Durant. The Nets did it when they got Durant, Kyrie Irving, and then James Harden. And the Lakers did it by bringing in Anthony Davis to go and help out LeBron James once he went to LA. In short, there's a feeling that in order to survive, you need a super team. Whether that's actually true or not is debatable, especially since the Lakers went out in the first round this year. But for teams like Detroit, Toronto, they won't be able to do these kinds of big deals, but they can go and make a good team with what they have and make a run at the playoffs. So this deal might just be what the doctor ordered for that. 1. Other trades? Regardless of whether this VanVleet deal happens, both Detroit and Toronto will need to go and get more pieces to help build up their squads. The good news on that front is that the state of the NBA with some of its big players and role players is a bit open, to the extent that with the right picks, players, and considerations, big moves can be made without having to go the super team route. So, who knows where these 2 teams will be next season, but they will be something to look out for. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the trade potential between Detroit and Toronto and how the Pistons are truly looking to make moves this year? Do you think they'll be able to get Fred VanVleet or someone else who is able to elevate the Pistons? Or do you think they don't have the stock to go and make worthy trades? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.